Welcome back to the Bible Stories series. Today, we finally reach the last book of the Old Testament, the Book of Malachi. The time is around 430 BC. Remember Haggai and Zechariah, whom we talked about earlier? At that time, the people had just returned to their country, enthusiastically building the temple, expecting a better tomorrow. But now, 100 years have passed. The temple is built, but the glory hasn't descended, life is still bitter and hard, the Persian Empire still rules over them. The people's passion has been worn away by reality. They began to feel, believing in God doesn't seem to be of much use, does it? Aren't the bad guys still living well? Thus, a terrible attitude began to spread, and that was apathy. They didn't go worship idols, they still went to church and offered sacrifices as usual, but their hearts were dead. Their attitude toward God became, I'll just go through the motions, and don't demand too much from me. Right at this twilight moment of faith, God issued a final ultimatum to this numb group of people through the last prophet, Malachi. This is not a speech, this is a debate. The whole book is filled with a back-and-forth arguing pattern of a God says, but you say. The debate begins. With his very first sentence, God pours out his true feelings. I have loved you, says the Lord. What a deeply affectionate confession. It's like an old father saying to his rebellious son, Child, I have always loved you. But what is the people's response? They coldly talk back, How have you loved us? These words are so hurtful. They mean, love? Why don't I feel it? I'm still suffering, I'm still poor, how do you love me? Show me the proof. Isn't this a lot like us? When life isn't going smoothly, our first reaction is to doubt God's love. How did God answer? God didn't get angry, he took them back through history. He said, Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Yet I have loved Jacob, but Esau I have hated. God's meaning is, look at your neighbors, the Edomites, descendants of Esau, they have been wiped out and turned into a wasteland. But as for you, descendants of Jacob, even though you stumbled, I still brought you back home and preserved your bloodline. The very fact that you are alive and standing here complaining is itself proof of my love. Since the people felt God didn't love them, their attitude toward God naturally became very casual. This manifested in their worship rituals. God accuses them, O priests, who show contempt for my name. You place defiled food on my altar. The rule at the time was that the cattle and sheep offered to God must be perfect. But what did these people do? They brought the blind, the crippled, and the diseased animals to offer to God. They calculated in their hearts, this sheep is going to die soon anyway, and I can't sell it. I might as well offer it to God to just offset my offering quota. God was furious. He said, Try offering them to your governor. Would he be pleased with you? If you don't even dare to give garbage to human officials, why do you dare to give it to the King of the universe? God even said something very harsh, that one of you would shut the temple doors, so that you would not light useless fires on my altar. God meant, stop acting. Close the doors. This hypocritical worship makes me sick. Besides being casual toward God, they were also casual toward people, especially regarding marriage. A bad habit was trending among Jewish men at the time, divorcing their original Jewish wives, the wives of their youth, to marry young, beautiful, idol-worshipping foreign women. The abandoned wives went to the temple to cry, flooding the altar with tears. God said, You ask, why does he not pay attention to our offerings? It is because the Lord is the witness between you and the wife of your youth. You have been unfaithful to her, though she is your partner. The Book of Malachi issues the most severe warning against divorce in the Bible. Divorcing one's wife and treating one's wife with violence are both what I hate. The logic here is, if you can't even keep a visible marriage covenant, how can you possibly keep your covenant with God? Marriage isn't just between two people, it is a microcosm of God's holy covenant. Betraying your wife is betraying God. The next topic is very sensitive, it talks about money. God said, Will a mere mortal rob God? Yet you rob me. The people play dumb again, how are we robbing you? You are in heaven, how can we rob you? God is direct, in tithes and offerings. This is the famous tithe debate. Why does God care so much about this? Is it because God lacks money? No. It's because the people thought in their hearts, the money I earn is mine. I want to keep it for myself, giving it to God is a waste. This showed they didn't believe God was their provider. So God issued an invitation unparalleled in the Bible, test me. God said, bring the whole tithe into the storehouse. Test me in this, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it. This is God's wager. Do you dare to trust me? Do you dare to shift your sense of security from money to me? If you dare, I will show you what the blessing of opened floodgates of heaven looks like. Facing these stubborn people, although God was angry, the bottom of his heart was still love. At the end of the book, God offers an ultimate hope. The people had been complaining, it is futile to serve God. Evildoers prosper. God said, don't rush, that day is coming. Surely the day is coming, it will burn like a furnace. On that day, all the arrogant and evildoers will be burned up like stubble. But what about those who revere God? God gave a most beautiful metaphor. But for you who revere my name, the Son of Righteousness will rise with healing in its rays, wings. And you will go out and frolic like well-fed calves. Imagine, after a long dark and cold night, the morning sun finally rises. Those warm rays shine upon you, healing all diseases and coldness. You will be as happy as a little calf released from its stall, excitedly jumping around in the meadow. This foretells the coming of Jesus Christ. He is that Son of Righteousness who will heal this broken world. The last few verses of the Book of Malachi mention sending the prophet Elijah to turn the hearts of the fathers to their children. After saying this, the Old Testament ends. The curtain falls, and the lights go out. From this day on, God no longer spoke through prophets. No visions, no miracles, only silence. The year was 430 BC. This silence lasted for a full 400 years. During these 400 years, the Israelites experienced Greek rule and Roman massacres. They waited bitterly in the dark. Did God forget them? No. God was waiting for the most perfect moment. 400 years later, in the wilderness, finally another man appeared wearing clothes of camel's hair, like Elijah, John the Baptist. He broke the silence and shouted, "The kingdom of heaven has come near." Immediately after, that Son of Righteousness, Jesus Christ, was finally born. The end of the Old Testament was precisely to welcome the beginning of the New Testament. That long silence turned out to be the deepest darkness before the dawn.